because his deck cannot always rely on Geist Saint Trap hitting and coming across for all the damage. We saw Kitchen Finks, we saw other cards.
Well, I think these 4 cards are exactly what we are going to see, and they do all belong to a plan of taking it to the late game without losing the aggressive edge he wants his deck to have. And one thing that's also crucial is that the threats actually work very well together with Geist of St. Traff, protecting it doubly against the Liliana ability. So
definitely.
I still think that the interaction of Liliana and Geist, that tension is going to be one of the defining things in this matchup.
Yes, because Liliana, Lukas does actually start with 4 Lilianas in the main deck. It's a big advantage to have in this matchup as well, but that's what he wants to achieve. Yeah, and here we go, game 2. Lukas Jaklovsky against Mitchell Manders, Prix Bilbao 2013. Jund on left in the hands of Lukas, and white, blue, red in the hands of Mitchell Manders on the right. I already quite like the look of Lukas's hand with Deathrite Shaman, Thoughtseize, and Tarmogoyf, and a few lands. He does, and Inquisition of Kozilek as well.
Great curve. We haven't seen many mulligans from these players. Overall, I think over the course of the tournament, a lot of keeps.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen a mulligan to 5 cards.
Which is also something that happens when you have a lot of Jund and less combo decks.
Sure.
Just less mulligans happen.
Yeah, Mitchell's still thinking about his hand. It does seem, he does mulligan. I saw a Baneslayer Angel and a Lightning Bolt there, but that hand probably not good enough. And being on the play, I think this is exactly where Jund is so punishing.
Yes.
Now, Lukas can start off with a discard spell into Deathrite Shaman and discard spell against the mulligan to 6.
Not risking anything, but just destroying Manders' hand. Maybe dropping a Liliana shortly after to clean up.
He does have a Tarmogoyf, which already puts a ton of pressure. So Mitchell already in tough spot even before the game began. I feel so.
But I mean, mulligan to 6 is still something you can easily come back from, and the blue-white-red flash deck is actually one that can, to a certain extent, keep up with what Jund is trying to do.
Sure. Yeah, we saw this matchup, this dynamic being very relevant, and already in Lyon, where we had Jund facing off against the blue-white controllers deck, as you rightly said. There, Jund won. Jeremy Desani was uncompromising. We didn't see much of him today. He started off 9-0 yesterday, just couldn't quite keep the wins coming, and he fell down to X3.
Okay.
So probably even maybe X4 at the end of the day.
You don't know how he finished?
No, I'm not sure, but I know he was X3 coming into the last run, I think. So
I know that Helmut Sommersberger ended up X4.
Okay.
Very disappointed of not making top 16.
Yeah, so here we go. The mulligan, 3 lands, 2 lightning bolts, and a remand. This is exactly the hand that Lukas will love to see after that discard spell.
Yeah, no pressure whatsoever.
No.
Lukas is going to have free reign, basically.
Yeah.
He does have a decision on how to play this, but as we've said, the option to go with a discard to know what's happening with his creatures is very viable. Yeah. What do you take here?
Actually, I don't. The remand is not very good, but it still draws a card, so I still probably take it.
It puts a dent into your plan. With 2 bolts there, it's not really that great to take 2 of the weaker cards in the matchup, just to have your opponent draw into the more powerful ones.
Sure.
So I think I would also take the remand.
Let's go for the lightning ball. I mean, I can already see the plan. The Deathrite Shaman being so cheap, also Tarmogoyf being quite cheap. Next time he can just play the Thoughtseize. If that is remanded, then he can easily just play the Deathrite Shaman. I think he's in decent spot still.
But then Deathrite Shaman would still be expensive.
It will get discarded anyway. But he just wants to clear his way for the Tarmogoyf there as well. So
I think the first Deathrite Shaman is probably also fine to lose to something like Lightning Bolt. It's not like the early Deathrite Shaman is winning this matchup, but rather if a late one sticks, it's a nice source of card advantage basically. But if the early one gets killed, it's not like you're losing because of the clock the blue-white red deck is putting on you.
Sure.
So I think it's easy to overvaluate the 1-2 for 1 a little bit.
Yep, so Mitchell Manders fetches up Sacred Foundry, draws a card, a Path to Exile for his turn, so again an answer and not a threat.
He can still draw into Geist of Saint Trav, just drop it next turn, but this hand still needs a lot to get going.
Yeah. So now Thoughtseize on the stack, played by Lukas Jaklovsky, meaning he will, reveals the freshly drawn path.
Lukas doesn't even drop the land first, not giving up any kind of information.
Yeah, exactly. He could be dropping a manland for all we know. But yeah. Let's take the lightning bolt here.
It would only make sense after taking the
first one.
The first lightning bolt, you have to take the second one.
Yeah, so he does. Yeah, he also drew a Bloodbraid Elf, just what the hand was lacking.
Yeah. And he has more than enough land, so losing that Deathrite Chain isn't the end of the world. Now that Manders doesn't have lightning bolt anymore, he almost has to let it resolve because his hand isn't really equipped to deal with the chain.
What Mitchell Manders now needs to do is basically remand that and hope to draw a Geist or anything. He does draw is a charm.
He
does it the Geist
as well.
He did draw the Geist.
He's back in the game, and Lukas has a lot of spells, but he doesn't have a Liliana.
Yeah, with still the Path to Exile left in hand to deal with the Tarmogoyf.
That's the danger of taking the bolts there.
Yeah.
The bolts would have certainly been more than solid, but they wouldn't have been able to deal with what the Junt deck is trying to do ultimately.
Yeah, I mean, Mitchell drew exactly what he needed here and still has the path to deal with the Tarmogoyf, get in for 6. Yep. So Lukas only has the Bloodbraid Elf to rely on. And basically needs to hit a Liliana or some other high impact spell.
Of course, the Bloodbraid Elf also just blocks the Geist of Saint Trav, and if you hit any permanent, you're also fine, but there's now at least a danger of not getting there.
Sure.
Which, after this start, Mulligan from Manders and 2 discard spells wasn't what we expected. And here we can kind of see that the Deathrite Chain at this point, it's just not all that threatening. You can't afford to just sit there gaining 2. There isn't even a creature in the graveyard. So
exactly.
What does it even do? So
is the charm? Yeah, it's still a threat. That will make the Tarmogoyf now beefier. Mitchell down to last card.
No, I don't even like killing that Deathrite Chain there, but
yeah,
I suppose
Thoughtseize not being played there, decides against it.
Does Lukas know the last card in Manders' hand? I'm pretty sure it's another land, right?
He probably figured, I don't think it was land, but he decided against it, against playing it. So does Mitchell Manders have a burn spell? Does he have removal for the Bloodbraid Elf? He does have another path. Yeah, you can see Lukas acknowledging it quite strongly there. We see Olivia while shuffling up.
And that might just be it, right? I mean, no answer to Geist. Could just
that's it.
Finish it.
1-1. We go into game 3. Yet again, I'm very, very surprised. I think the Lukas was smiling a bit nervously there. I think if he went for discarding that remand, the game would have been completely different. I think that you were implying that.
I think the bolts weren't really a card that would have caused Jaklovsky to lose.
Sure.
There were there are always draws for Manders that make life very very easy for Lukas.
Sure.
But just taking the remand actually allows you to play your game, and your opponent who's already down some cards doesn't get to gain back tempo and draw into his good cards, which he did. Sure. Of course, we could say it's lucky that he had a turn 3 Geist, but he had the remand to cast. He did it. He found the Geist, and that was it.
And punished Lukas for not taking the remand there. I mean, sure, the Geist would still get into play sooner or later, but actually, if Lukas was holding on to the discard spell, like if the turn 1 hit the discard spell, hit the remand with the discard, the Inquisition of Kozilek, and then turn 2 Deathrite Shaman, sure, go ahead and kill it. Turn 3 Thoughtseize you, do you have the path or not? Tarmogoyf, go. He will be in such great shape.
That's basically what I'm talking about. If you have an Inquisition, you can take the Remand, which is just a more unfair card than the Lightning Bolt. The Lightning Bolt is going to trade 1 for 1, but you're the deck that tries to trade 1 for 1.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
I almost never take Lightning Bolt from my opponent's hand when I know that I just need to reach a state where we are both out of resources, basically.
Sure. I mean, throughout the weekend, talking to Lukas, even though he went on a brutal tear of, I think, 11 wins before he got his first loss.
He was one of the first locks for top
Yes,
8.
yes, he was. But still, he kept saying how he wasn't happy with his play in general. And, you know, he's still a top player, but I wouldn't say it was a proper mistake. I think he had a plan when he took that Lightning Bolt, but I just think he overvalued the Deathrite Shaman just a little bit too much.
That's what I was aiming at. It's not like any clear-cut mistakes happening here, but it's basically what comes down to very basic Magic theory of we all heard of who's the beatdown, but also misassignment of roles. And one thing that's a very easy trap to fall into, and I think we are all guilty of that, is if you're feeling that you're ahead, you tend to think about all the nice things that can happen and how rosy everything is looking.
Sure.
But yeah, then what you actually have to be doing, even though it's tough psychologically, is think about the worst things that can happen. And then I think that's when you take the Remand rather than the Lightning Bolt.
It's very possible. I mean, you played a lot of John in your time, so
that helps as well.
Yeah, that helps. And Lukas hasn't played a lot of Modern before coming here, so surely that has some impact. The runs that he played leading up to this certainly gave him some sort of testing, but I think his strong sides came out during the quarterfinals and the semifinals, just by being very patient, having a clear game plan, and allowing, putting the opponent in such a position that to allow him to make mistakes.
Yes,
And
making it difficult for the opponent. Yes,
Yeah.
and that was more of a decision where if you ask 10 Magic players, you probably get 5 saying the one thing, 5 the other, and it's really Magic is too complicated to, and it's not black and white. You can't just say this is the correct play, everything else is a mistake. But that's what makes it so interesting.
Yeah.
It's basically whatever the person feels is going to give him the best chance to win.
Yeah, Lukas Jaklovsky here. Remember the face. You'll be seeing a lot of him in the next few months and years. I'm sure a large crowd gathered there behind. No Spaniard made it into the finals, so there won't be any huge roars. Just like when we saw Jeremy Desani win in Lyon, the crowd was really pumped up.
We had a huge crowd there. That was absolutely amazing. They actually got some video coverage to watch.
Yep. So this time it's Lukas Jaklovsky who mulligans. It seems already down to 3, 4, 6 cards. Yep. Very top heavy hand, but he goes to the turn 1 Deathrite Shaman. So here we go, game 3 of the finals here at GP Bilbao. The winner of this game takes the trophy home and the title of Grand Prix Bilbao 2013 champion. John on the left in the hands of Lukas Jaklovsky, white, blue, red in the hands of Mitchell Manders on the right.
And that was a nice draw.
Oh dear, does he have a fetch land? He does.
There, I was afraid for Lukas there for a moment, because if the Deathrite Shaman gets bolted, he's stuck with a 4 and a 5 mana spell, which would make any remands so much more devastating.
The problem here is if the mulligan influences it so much that if he now goes fetch land into Deathrite Shaman activation from Liliana, he probably has to discard the Battle Skull. And
yeah, that's the price you pay, but getting that Liliana into play has to be worth it.
Yeah, he has to decide how he wants this game. I mean, the Deathrite Shaman usually doesn't have a very long longevity in this matchup. Olivia also not being as good because of Path to Exile, Lightning Bolt, Lightning Helix, and so on.
But
so
Lukas would love to get Path to Exile here. That extra land is exactly what he wants.
Yep.
I think what he debated is delaying the Liliana by 1 turn, because that would have allowed him to have 1 more card, so maybe one card to discard, and then on turn 4 he would have had the extra mana from the Death Ray Chamber.
Sure. Yeah. So he chooses the Battle Skull, and we see already Lukas is in a pretty good spot here, because there's a Path to Exile in Mitchell's hand, and this already taking lands from here. Yeah. Again, Iganjun Castle, Arid Mesa,
And let's not forget
Lightning Helix.
Let's not forget that Liliana is the card that single-handedly deals with Geist of St. Trout.
Yeah, and also being very good against Battle Skull itself. Ooh, Tarmogoyf might be even better than Olivia.
No, it's cheaper. So
It is.
Here we see actually one of Magic's core concepts at work. Every card that costs one more mana than another actually costs you an extra card that you have to invest first.
Yeah.
Of course, it's going to generate mana each turn, but there's still a trade-off to be made. And well, if there's an incredible card that just costs 2, that's why Tarmogoyf is so good.
But do you go for the Olivia here or for the Tarmogoyf? And what do you can't really afford to discard like
The one thing that would keep me from going for Olivia is Remand.
okay.
You want to empty your hand, and you also want to take out Liliana. I mean, Liliana is just too strong here, I believe. And the question is, how do you empty your hand if your opponent has Remand? I think dropping Tarmogoyf and then maybe even dropping it again with the help of the fetch land and Death Ray Chain, discarding Olivia, and just taking up Liliana.
Yeah, surely a possible line of play, but we see Mitchell does have a lot of cards in his hand. And I'm sure Lukas does want to start getting rid of those cards, because it doesn't seem like Mitchell has any answer apart from Burn, which is just delays, and it plays exactly into Olivia's play. It's basically discarded.
By playing around Remand, it's possible that Lukas is running right into Threats of Disloyalty here.
Yeah.
And that would force him to -2 his Liliana. Well, sometimes he certainly could do, but he isn't too keen on doing. Now, what's interesting is that he can actually discard that land.
He could, but yeah, attack with the Death Ray Shaman.
So
I think we will see a Lightning Helix.
looks like this prompts a response, and that does give Lukas the information if he can afford to discard lands at this stage. What he could also do is just discard Olivia, drop the land, and then make sure that, well, if his next draw isn't exactly a Bloodbraid Elf, then just keep taking up that Liliana.
Yeah, I mean, surely Mitchell is looking at using that Threads of Disloyalty, targeting the Tarmogoyf. But I think just Lukas has to go for playing the land, discarding the Olivia, and next turn using the sacrifice once Mitchell takes it with threats.
He isn't forced to activate Liliana at this stage.
It isn't, yes.
It's actually questionable if discarding a card here gets him closer to his goal.
Yeah, the problem is Olivia at this stage of the game is actually quite bad, just because we saw two paths. And he goes for the discard.
I don't think I would have discarded, and the reason is that it's very likely that you're going to be forced to -2 her next turn.
Yeah.
And that means it's not as important to empty your hand.
Sure.
And if he had drawn a land, one of the few lands that come into play untapped, he would have just been able to edict whatever Mitchell played, Threats or Geist,
Sure.
and then drop the Olivia.
Yeah. But maybe now it's an instant sorcery creature artifact, so it's a 4/5. There's no sorceries yet, I don't think. No. So it's a 4/5 actually. That if he +1s it, the Liliana can still survive a hit from the Tarmogoyf, but then you might have a problem getting rid of it. But depends what Lukas draws.
I suppose that just getting rid of it immediately is just the much better play.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, but Mitchell's plan is just basically get to, here's a land, and kill the Tarmogoyf, pass the turn. So now Mitchell can play a land. If he does have 2 lands, he can just then he will be free to have the Battle Skull token. Once he hits 5, it's.
Did he draw a Geist of St. Traft? Because that would allow him to drop Geist and keep up Path to Exile to fetch a basic and then have the mana for. Oh, yeah, he's realizing what I said here.
Yeah, takes 2 here.
Somewhat of a sloppy play, I would say, but we'll let that go. So
Yeah, it was no big deal.
He realized that he wanted to keep up path to Exa for his Geist. Liliana still loses her loyalty counters, so Mitchell is,
Inquisition. Now
that's interesting. That's very interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, very nice. Very nice.
now he will realize that he might have to +1 it. I mean, depends on. Yeah, if,
Well, the thing is, his hand
it's really interesting.
his hand is gone anyway.
Yeah,
But then Liliana, if Liliana decides to get rid of Better Skull, then the Geist is still in play. So
Yeah.
he has to. Lukas is now hoping that
Yeah.
Mitchell doesn't draw a land.
basically, yeah. He now has to -2. Yeah, but if it's still a slippery game.
It's very
if he
close, yes.
doesn't draw, if he draws land, does he have the land? No, but it's another card which he can keep. Maybe Lightning Bolt to even kill it. Passes the turn, so no land. +1. Lukas doesn't even play his card.
Okay, he actually drew one of the worst.
What's?
Okay,
I believe he just +1 it, discarding the Tarmogoyf. Yeah, here's the Battle Skull.
yeah. So
Yeah.
that doesn't seem to be. Yeah. So Lukas decided against playing the Tarmogoyf first.
Yeah.
Maybe playing around. I don't know. Remand? No, he would have. Yeah, I think that was just a mistake on his part. It feels like he could have dropped Tarmogoyf and then +1.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it does seem like Lukas does seem a little bit resigned already.
just a lapse
Maybe,
in
yeah.
concentration, I guess. Probably worried about the potential cards in Mitchell's hand, and getting punished for that. That Tarmogoyf would have been very, very crucial.
Yeah, would be a very big size considering there's now also an enchantment and Planeswalker in the graveyard as well. Pass the turn with no play. I mean, the game is far from over yet, but it's still, the players are in good spirits anyway.
Yeah, now Mitchell is probably not going to expose his Batter Skull to any kind of removal spell, so there isn't that much that Lukas can draw to get out of this. He does have a second Olivia.
Yeah, he can play his own Battle Skull if he boarded it in, maybe
Yeah,
just
but
as
then the game degenerates into a,
Yeah.
into a Better Skull mirror,
Yeah.
which isn't that pleasant to watch. So I really don't know. The outs of Lukas are pretty
slim,
few.
yeah. Maybe another Olivia.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Like
Yeah.
Olivia, once again, being the card, and if he draws it, it's certainly my pick for card of the weekend. I've seen it win so many games; it's pretty incredible. But we've said it a lot of times with both decks. Drawing from the top, Junt is actually favored,
Ooh,
but
the dealing click.
that's not necessarily the case in. in
Yeah,
this,
Lukas Jaklovsky is now
this
on
spot.
autopilot basically.
I don't even know what he's doing.
Yeah, he's offering up the hand. Yeah, Mitchell Manders takes the game and the match. Now the Grand Prix Bilbao 2013 champion with white, blue, red flash. Congratulations to him. A huge roar. Anyway, he has his Dutch friends here to support him. A great way to end the tournament, revenging his loss. Yeah, here we see Jan van der Vecht and the other Dutchies there, congratulating him. There's the trophy.
Yeah, a worthy champion, I have to
Worthy
say.
champion, yeah.
In a tiresome, in a grueling tournament, he was the one that made the fewest mistakes, I would say.